I'm Dawid Pośliński and I'm lead developer at Celio. Today I will talk briefly about add-ons. Those of you who are a bit more experienced hopefully should know most of it, except one add-on, which everyone who's using that add-on probably I know. You will see later on why. Okay, so that will be like a brief intro for what add-ons are for, what it gives you in Ember, and why you should create your own add-on. So let's start. What's an add-on? This is, let's say, car, normal car, and if we would like to improve it a little, then we can do something like this. Basically, attach something to it to basically extend, I don't know, performance, top speed, acceleration, whatever, handling. And this is all about add-ons in our apps. They usually extend the current behavior of the app. Okay. So who are responsible for add-ons? Who can create add-ons? Basically all of us, and this is one of the goals of these presentations, to convince you to do so. Especially that in Ember it's pretty easy to do that. If you would like to use existing add-on, Ember CLI basically gives you a very simple API to do so. So once you found existing add-on that met your needs, all you have to do is just write Ember install and provide the add-on name. And from now on, I will focus on few examples of add-ons that all of you should know about, and those are the stuff that most of us using every day on every project. So let's move on. Basically, simple auth, very easy solution if you would just like to have authentication in your app. Also, if you have to write your own custom authentication, it contains, let's say, adapter layer, which is called Authenticators, where you can basically write your own connection, let's say, between your network layer and your app, and basically authentication, sorry. That's pretty important difference. On the top you can see, once you install the add-on, you just have to inject the service, which gives you some properties. The simple one, it's like is authenticated. As I remember, it also provides some helpers, but more of that you can find in README. Another very simple add-on, but very useful, especially if your app gets bigger and bigger. It's Ember Parachute, which allows you to not only reuse handling of your query params. So for instance, if you create some more complicated list with some fancy filters, you can reuse those definitions across the app, but also it enforces you to break the main rule from Ember guides, where they usually say that you should fetch data in routers, but luckily it's not the rule anymore. And thanks to people who are responsible not just for this add-on but for the whole community, we are thinking about where we should fetch the data. I highly suggest to take a look at the README. Their, let's say, reasons why they want to break the things how they are now. Okay, the other pretty cool example, and this is, I think, one of the best example how higher order components should look like, is the EmberPowerSelect by Cybernox. Uh, Probably most of you had trouble with Select 2 in the past. Thanks to this add-on, it's highly customizable. Uh, Probably all problems will gone, hopefully. On top you can see very simple usage of that. You just provide some data. Of course, there are much more than just this. This is just one of the random examples. Uh, but yeah, if you think about much more complex select, anyhow, always use power select. Okay, another add-on from Girl that is basically connected with Ember Parachute is AmberChangeset, which helps you dealing with forms. So you don't have to worry about connection, let's say, of model with persistence layer like Ember Data. Changeset creates like a copy. It can roll back the changes on the model. So every time you think about forms together with Ember Data, think about this add-on. It will save you a lot of time. What else? I mentioned about authentication. Now it's authorization. EmberCon, it's like a policy management, let's say, add-on, which basically implements abilities, which gives which tells your app how user can interact with each resources. You can, of course, customize the implementation of the ability, but based on the ability and very nice, let's say, sentence-like syntax, it can guess based on the ability, for instance, that you can create post. And that's it. It will basically call a specific ability, which is post.js, and it will call can create method. Implementation how it will behave, it's up to you. It's not hard to imagine that you can get those from backend, for instance. Here is the case with session, which also usually is served by the backend. What else? Another great add-on, EmberConcurrency. Those two examples are just the fraction of what this add-on is capable of, let's say. But every time you have to deal with any kind of queues, asynchronous programming, stuff like that, you don't have to worry. You just take this add-on, take a look at many options that it has, and probably most cases are handled here very nicely. It uses generators. It works very nicely with Ember. Very simple API. Yeah, so asynchronous stuff, just use Ember concurrency. Yeah, this is the add-on that I mentioned that some of you might not know, because I know most of users of this add-on. It allows you, it's like a simple wrapper for PEL, which is content editable rich text editor written in pure JS. It just took 1 kilobyte and it used the modern API of JS, so that's why it's so small. It doesn't require any extra dependency. Highly stylable, let's say. You just embed it in your app, and it gives you some WYSIWYG. Also, it's very easy to extend this with just pure JS. So if you don't like to have a heavy dependency and you would like to have very nice customization, this is the way to go. Okay, here is just a sample of some uploader add-on. So this is another example that it doesn't matter what case you have to deal with, there is always ready-to-use solution, which is usually highly customizable. So every time you look at the add-ons, you should always look at the stars count, the size of the community around the add-on, and usually everything that you would like to develop is just like a plug-and-play solution, and this is the part for uploading. So all you have to do is to, in that case, there will be probably some callback where you just provide the URL where your component will hit the endpoint, and basically that's it. Yeah, this add-on is still under development. I highly recommend to at least try it. Basically, what it allows you is to just switch from JavaScript to TypeScript in your Ember applications. From week to week, it's better, it gets better, but keep in mind that it's still under development. If you like to work with TypeScript, this is the way to go. Also, on Slack, there is very active community around this. So if you have any troubles with that, you will find help quite quickly. If you would like to find more, just go on Ember Observer. To start your own add-on, use Ember CLI. It will basically create based on the blueprints base structure of the add-on. There will be some samples, some sample spec as well, and you can start your own add-on now. If you, of course, need help, you can ask me or anyone here probably on, for instance, Mikstura Slack or Mikstura Meetup. We have, I believe, plenty of experience. We contribute to, I don't know, 20 add-ons by now or even more, and we create few of them. So and we try to follow them as well, the changes in the add-on ecosystem, let's say. So if you have any troubles, just ask us. And basically that's it. Thank you. Do you have any questions? No, no. Yeah, the problem would be to not just convincing us is not a problem usually, but convincing customer might be, because for him it's like an extra risk that he would like to avoid always. So if he sees that, he will basically ask you to honestly answer the question, is it ready for production? Are you convinced that this is ready for production? And of course I can lie and say yes, but we shouldn't do it like that. So no, it's not. But the cool thing is that huge part of Ember is already in TypeScript. So maybe there will be a day where we will able just to use it just like that. For simple applications, let's say, I mean, just for single component, it wouldn't be a problem. But when you connect many things, I mean many layers of data, of components that, for instance, require some context of other components, it gets tricky because you have handlebars between that, and it's not fully covered yet. And that's the problem, because it doesn't know what's the type based on just handlebars. But it's partially supported, but not fully yet. And that's the issue. Okay. Do you have any other questions? So thank you.